Spring-driven airguns sell in their millions across the world, largely because of their relative simplicity. I mean, at the end of the day, they're just a cylinder with a piston in them, aren't they? Well, not this one. This is the brand new Walther LGV 2012 series from gun-making power Umarex, and it's arguably the most sophisticated spring-powered brake barrel this century. Let's see why. This is the flagship competition Ultra version of the new LGV. There are also Master and Challenger versions, each of which have Ultra variants identified by the fitting of a muzzle brake like this one. The brake boasts a threaded end for silencer fitment, and the barrel, Walther of course, comes complete with fibre optic open sights and a breech lock-up system that bears legacy to the famous LG55 match rifles of the 1960s, guns which made Walther so dominant in the high-precision world of target shooting. The 2012 version is a brake barrel sporter though, with this competition model's action sporting a dovetail cylinder for the fitting of a telescopic sight, a curved two-stage adjustable trigger that's metal bladed on UK models, and an automatic safety. It's all cradled in a chunky beech stock that boasts a rise and fall cheek piece, and while it's certainly quite a looker on the outside, put on your X-ray specs and you'll see something a little more than just a spring-driven piston-powered air rifle. This LGV is about as high-tech a Springer as you can get, with Walther's SST super silent technology engineering transforming a mass-produced airgun into one that shoots like a tuned-up special. Many components are even manufactured with zero fit tolerances. Incredibly, through an elaborate study of pressures, temperatures, accelerations and times involved during the rifle's firing cycle, Walther has been able to develop a vibration reduction system, or VRS, which results in the LGV becoming the smoothest shooting production Springer on the market today. They've even drilled additional air transfer holes in optimal locations inside the action in order to reduce the aggressiveness of the shot and allow the piston to come to rest more gently. The LGV's roots may be traced back to target shooting, but the latest incarnation makes a formidable sporter, effective against pests like pigeons, corvids, rats and rabbits. This was a particularly tough foray, with strong winds making it difficult to hold a steady aim. A heavy-footed camera crew didn't make the hunt any easier, so with them pushed right back out of filming range, I eventually stalked in close enough to dispatch this rabbit with an accurately placed headshot thanks to the Walther's ultra-smooth firing cycle. Of course, all that technology inside does come at a price. The LGV is quite a weighty rifle to cart around the fields all day long. Certainly pulls your arm out of its sockets. But I can live with that, because having seen what goes on inside the LGV, it's easy to feel the benefit this brings not just to the firing cycle, but also when you're cocking the rifle, which on so many brake barrels these days is often a horrible mix of grating metal and scary spring sounds. But on the 2012 LGV, cocking the action is nothing short of a delight. To be truthful, it's hard to believe that there is a mainspring inside this cylinder. The gun is so smooth to cock, there's no graunching or grinding whatsoever. It's like silk on silk. Silky indeed, just listen. No spring noises there. And another thing I quite like is the fact that you've got an articulated cocking arm, which means there's no long, unsightly and stock weakening slot underneath the fore end. And when you cock the rifle, it slides on a synthetic spring dampened plate. It's German engineering at its very best. And actually, I'd say it's the most beautifully engineered air rifle I've ever tested. Here's the reason why: the LGV's barrel locking latch. A throwback to the original LGV match rifles, this ensures the 2012's brake barrel action always shuts firmly into position, ensuring not only a tight air seal for maximum power, but also to keep the rifle's downrange performance on a par with the reputation Walther's famous arsenal of match rifles have earned themselves down the decades. Accuracy, of course, also requires consistency, and my test LGV varied by no more than 10 feet per second or so with most ammo. It was powerful too, with 15.9 grain Air Arms Diabolo Field 22s averaging around 11.4 foot-pounds, and Napier's 14.5 grain UPH lubricated ammo clocked up an average 11.2 foot-pounds over the chrono. Unsurprisingly for this UK spec LGV, it was Umarex's own lightweight 13.2 grain roundheads which recorded the highest power, nudging our 12 foot-pound legal limit all the way. Power's nothing without accuracy, of course, and the LGV has that in abundance thanks to its high-tech innards. A mass-produced air rifle it may be, but with decent ammo and a telescopic sight, I was able to put in some very tasty groups at 30 yards courtesy of that silky smooth and ultra-fast firing cycle. Sitting with arms on knees, I shot this little cluster using Napier's Power UPH, 14.5 grain semi-dome roundheads, straight out of the tin. Although, as with any break barrel rifle, it's important to make sure you seat the skirt all the way into the breech. As you can see, there's minimal recoil to send your shots off target, and the LGV's trigger helps in that respect too. Fully adjustable, it's a two-stage affair that gives you a very manageable first stage with a definite stop to the second, which also breaks with a crispness becoming of such a well-engineered air rifle. There's also a resettable safety catch situated at the rear end of the cylinder, which automatically comes on when the gun is cocked. Now, I've already mentioned that the barrel is a super accurate Walther, and the muzzle weight attached to the Ultra model certainly helps calm what little flip there is, although I'm not sure there's any need for a silencer to screw onto that half-inch UNF thread that lives under the removable knurled collar. To be honest, the gun's quite enough as it is. While the stock is synthetic on the Challenger, I've got mixed feelings about the deluxe beach handle on the competition. It's chunky, so it won't suit those with small hands, but it is well shaped with lovely fluting along the extended forestock, which gives you plenty of hand positions according to your stance and aiming angle. And the cheek piece is adjustable, so you get perfect eye alignment with the scope. But I do have one slight criticism. You see, while it's great to have a height adjustable cheek piece, what's not so great is it's too thin, and the edge of that wood there is quite sharp and it digs into your cheekbone as you take aim. Another small criticism is that Walther have left the stock bolt screw standing rather proud. And if you want my opinion, I'm not sure Southpaws will like those mammoth-sized holes drilled into the right side of the cheek piece. At least these holes are welcome. They're for the anti-creep scope mount studs when you come to fit a telly to the dovetails that are milled into the cylinder. I say come to fit because you don't actually need a scope. The LGV's ready to shoot straight out of the box courtesy of its fibre optic open sights. A hooded red bead at the muzzle that aligns between two green dots on the rear sight, which is also adjustable for windage and elevation via click-stop thumb wheels. Now you may consider the opens for cheap and cheerful plinking sessions at spinners and tin cans. Except this isn't about being cheap and cheerful. This is a rifle packed with the heritage of one of the most famous gun-making names in the world. And no matter what type of shooting you favour, you'll find Walther's 2012 LGV the kind of rifle that you just can't put down. Yes, it may be one of the most expensive springers on the market today, but believe me, once you've got one in your shoulder, you'll be happy shooting it from dawn until dusk.